Why don't your kids listen to you? Because of you. I'm going to tell you how I got my kids to start listening to me. It's a simple story. This is going to make for better parenting if you take heed. The first thing you're going to have to do is realize who the heck you've been all this time. And you're going to need to get really present. What have you been doing that works? What have you been doing that doesn't work? And why are you still trying to control them? So let's get started. What do you mean you don't know how to get your kids to do what you want them to do? Well, that's the problem, first of all. If you're still thinking about how to get your children to do what you want them to do, then you've missed out on the whole mission of what we call being a parent. Because you see, your idea of what you want them to do is your idea. It resides with you. And to be quite honest, they don't really care about what you want. I mean, they do. But this notion that they should just do because you say is so old school, so far-fetched, and quite utterly immature. Now, let me tell you why that's immature and so far-fetched. Because you're forgetting that they are spirits. They are humans just like you. You're playing in the physical world where you think because you're older and you brought them into the world, you can take them out. Well, technically you can, but please don't do that. Please don't do that. But no, really, the notion that your ego needs to be served to be in control because you're the parent is where you're going wrong. How do you treat your friends? Do you treat your friends like you're their parent? I mean, if you do, you probably have a lot of arguments. Instead, you go to them, you interact with them, you respect their opinion. Even if you don't agree, you guys can talk it through, right? I mean, that's pretty much what happens. Well, your child, albeit they're younger in years than you, their spirit isn't aged one way or another. It's just present. And if you were to address them, not as an adult, but address their spirit as being whole, not broken, not ignorant, although it could have some room for maturity, and start talking to them in that way, that would open up a whole new world. You see, but that requires a few things before you can ever start talking to their spirit and help open up a whole new world. Once you figure that out, then you can find out what they need with what their life mission is and start guiding them along the way. Let me rephrase that. Empowering them along the way around what it is that they're here to do. And when you do that, you automatically begin to break the barriers because you're connecting around something that relates to them. But there's a lot that has to happen before we get there. So let's go backwards. First of all, acknowledging that they are human and that they have a spirit, that they are not ignorant, that they are not dumb, is something that you're going to have to do. You're going to have to be willing to let go of your ego and what it means to be a parent. You're going to have to be willing to let go of what you think society is going to judge you around and how you parent, or what worked for your parents or what didn't work for your parents, to find out who's this unique individual and what do they need. That requires a lot of meditation. That requires prayer time. That requires paying attention. That requires taking notes. That requires listening. You've got to spend time, just like you did with your significant other, to get to know your child as an individual. As you are on that journey and respecting who they are, you're going to begin to find out what works and what doesn't work and what they're up to and why they're here. And then you're going to have to go inside and find out are you uniquely designed to assist them? And what resources and tools do they need to be cultivated into the person that they want to become? And to the person that you at least see at this level. They may not fully see it, but you know when you're paying attention what you can see. And it's your job to develop. I know the phrase in the Bible, train up a child in the way they should go, spare the rod, spoil the child. Well, listen, train up the child in the way they should go, the way they should go, not what you think they should go. Spare the rod, the flow, the rules, the guidelines that will help them be successful in their chosen craft. That's not beat your child. That's not beat your child. It's a whole other conversation. It's all pushing us toward getting to know our child as an individual and then nurturing who they are. As you begin to nurture who they are, you know what's going to happen? Not only will you be able to approach them differently, but they're going to start to interact with you. Why? Because now it's not just parenting. You're actually building a relationship, just like you did, just like you know how to do. But you're not looking at them through the eyes of child. You're looking at them through the eyes of spirit. And that's allowing you to connect with them. And so you can begin to guide them. You can begin to nurture them. Now, does that mean that there won't be times where you have to say, okay, if your negative behavior continues, this is going to be the result of it? That's fine. But the more important question is not getting to the result. The more important question is, hey, so what's going on? What's happening inside? You're saying this is where you want to go. We're discovering this is who you are. You don't get to have your way. It doesn't work like that. That's not what we're talking about. We're trying to help get you there because you're part of this team. But before you talk about the necessity of them being a part of the team, you have to know who they are and then start addressing them in alignment. You're trying to get them in alignment. So your conversation needs to be in alignment with who you're discovering they're supposed to be on the planet. It's kind of a big deal. Takes a little bit of work too. You got to start studying. See, to me, the secret to parenting is not about controlling your child. The secret to parenting is that you're the one who grows. They're going to do what they do. Your job is to help them understand how to function in this world, being who they are. The most important thing is not functioning in the world. The most important thing is discovering who they are and helping them live it out. So as you do that, you're going to be able to guide them and go, hey, that doesn't align with where you're trying to go. So why would you want to continue to do that? And again, this doesn't mean no discipline in terms of what we're going to do, what we're not going to do. I'm not saying give up your parent card and make them your friend. I'm saying address the spirit and you'll naturally have relationship. And the goal of every parent should be relationship with their child because you're the gateway that they got here and you're only trying to guide them, release them into the world to fulfill on all of who they are. That's it. I know, that's a little contrary to what you like to hear perhaps. But if you're able to do that, you're going to be able to cultivate relationships with them and you'll be able to walk things out with them. And when you do come upon conflict where their behavior hasn't matched and you feel like you need to take some action, which that's going to naturally occur, at some point you can either say, hey, listen, you're acting this way, I need you to read this book. Now, see, the key isn't, I don't want you to look at, oh, they're going to read a book and it's going to be fine. Kinda. See, your goal is to enlighten, to expand their mind so they can see the impact of their behavior and they want to choose to do something different, not force. Because if you're trying to force, at some point they're going to rebel. Why? Because they are looking to find themselves anyway. And when you try to force anyone, it's natural pushback. So instead of seeking to force, seek to understand, seek to guide. And in that process, you might say, hey, this book, I need you to read this book. This is the discipline for your continued misbehavior. It's not going to hurt you. It's going to help you and expand you. And then I want you to come back and we're going to talk about it. And until it's done, you won't be able to do all the free things that you normally get to do. But this is going to help you. I'm not trying to hurt you at all. And as you do that, oh, by the way, if you're cultivating relationship, you don't have the rebellious child because you're in relationship. See that? It's not like the child's over there and they're just a demon child. No, you're cultivating a relationship with them. But you got to study them to do that. So then you take that information and they start expanding. And if that's not working, then you try to find another one. Oh, and it's not just any book. It needs to be one that is relative to their age with perhaps hopefully someone they admire outside of you. You've got to be able to, listen, here's a quick analogy. There's a minister, he was talking about how he loves to go fishing, but he hates worms. He said, but the thing he learned is, in order to get what he wants, he has to give the fish what it wants. So although he hates worms, in order to get the fish, he has to give the fish worms to get the fish. I think you got it. So you need to find tools that are relative to your child, and then you're going to use that to bring them in, to help them grow, to help them expand. And if you so find yourself that's not working, sit down and say, hey, listen, I don't have a manual. You are a unique spirit. I honor who you are, but this is not working in the team construct in which you exist. How should we come up with a discipline plan that's going to shift this for you? Right? Invite them in the conversation. You don't need to be in control. That's all ego-driven. Invite them into the conversation. That's going to help them mature far more quickly than you realize because you're teaching them to think. And that, my friends, is one of the greatest gifts you can give your child, teaching them to think. But in order for that to happen, you got to start thinking. There's many more tools like this coming. Join my free VIP group where I talk about this parenting and I talk about nutrition and a whole bunch of stuff that can add value to your life and make your journey far more pleasurable. In the meantime, please click the bell, subscribe, leave a comment below, share this with somebody you love. I can't wait to talk again.